Welcome to This Explainer. I'm so glad you're here today because honestly, we are tackling a massive paradigm shift right now, one that's literally rewriting the rules of the digital world as we speak. For decades, we've thought of our organization's digital presence in one very specific, rigid way. But the rapid rise of AI? Yeah, it's forcing a total rethink. Today, we're going to dive into the urgent need to redesign our public digital footprint for an era where machines, not just humans, are doing the reading. To really wrap our heads around what's going on, just think about this brilliant comment from one of the readers of our source material, Thomas Sagal. It hits the nail right on the head. He says it's like that feeling when you are offering a printed map to a customer with their own sat-nav. I mean, just think about it. Spending months obsessing over website drop-down menus today is exactly like handing a giant fold-out paper map to someone whose car is already talking to them with turn-by-turn GPS. It's a total aha moment, right? We're busy building manual tools for an audience that has already moved on to automated, guided solutions. And that brings us to a pretty stark reality. The homepage is no longer the front door. I know, that's a tough pill to swallow if you work in digital strategy or communications, but it perfectly sets up the fundamental shift we're exploring today. If the homepage isn't the front door anymore, well, what is it? And more importantly, how do organizations actually survive and thrive in this totally new environment? Section 1, the end of the homepage, or a failing 30-year assumption. To figure out where we're going, we kind of have to look at where we've been. For a really long time, digital transformation programs, whether we're talking governments, healthcare providers, universities, or huge corporations, they've all shared one big foundational goal: optimizing the website. We've treated the website as the absolute primary destination for our audiences. For 30 years, 3 decades, organizations have poured money into a digital strategy built on this one massive assumption that people would actively visit a site, click through the menus, type in the internal search bars, and manually hunt down the information they needed. But today, that 30-year assumption is rapidly falling apart. Section 2, the intelligent intermediary, how AI is abstracting navigation. So user behavior is radically changing right before our eyes. People are just ditching traditional search bars and those complex, nested menus, and they're moving towards conversational, contextual interactions instead. Think about how search engines have historically worked. They index web pages, right? They give you a list of links, but they leave the heavy lifting of figuring it all out completely up to you. You have to click, read, synthesize, but generative AI flips that entire relationship upside down. It acts as an intelligent intermediary. It actually interprets the information for you and synthesizes a direct answer, totally removing the mechanics of traditional web browsing. So how does this actually play out in the real world? Well, first, a person asks an AI assistant a question, whether that's ChatGPT, Copilot, Gemini, you name it. The AI then goes out, synthesizes multiple authoritative sources, and hands back a single contextual response. The absolute crucial takeaway here is that last point. Organizations no longer communicate directly with their audiences. We aren't just designing for human readers scrolling on a screen anymore. We are now designing for machine interpretation. That is huge. Section 3, the problem with complexity, when AI meets internal chaos. Now, throwing this new AI intermediary into the mix ruthlessly exposes a major roadblock. I'm talking about the messy, siloed internal realities of large enterprises. Let's ground this with a really tangible example from the source material, the National Health Service in the UK. You've got multiple statutory organizations, you've got providers, commissioners, regulators, national bodies, local partnerships. I mean, it's a lot. And from an internal operational perspective, this highly convoluted org chart is completely unavoidable. It's just how a massive system has to function. But contrast all that massive internal complexity with the stark, simple reality. A patient doesn't care about your internal org chart at all. They literally just want to know 3 things: where to go, who can help, and what happens next. Historically, we've forced users to navigate all our internal bureaucracy just to find those simple answers. AI promises to abstract all that complexity away for the user. But, and this is a big but, it can only do that if the underlying information is actually clean and coherent. And this quote perfectly illustrates the danger if that information isn't clean. This is from Roger Donald, highlighting a major finding from an NHS knowledge discovery project. He says AI will faithfully amplify whatever information estate it is given, whether that estate is authoritative, fragmented, or contradictory. Think about what that means. If your organization has conflicting explanations, duplicated guidance across 5 different departments, or a bunch of outdated PDFs, AI isn't going to magically fix it for you. It's just going to amplify the confusion. Or worse, it'll just invent its own truth based on your messy data.
Section 4, Public Knowledge Architecture, the new enterprise discipline.
So, how on earth do organizations survive this shift? Well, the framework is captured right here in this definition. Let's read it carefully because it's important. Public knowledge architecture is the discipline of designing, governing, and exposing public knowledge to present a coherent, machine-interpretable understanding across all external channels. This gives the whole concept some real academic and strategic weight. It basically means your website isn't the final destination anymore. It just becomes one piece of a much larger underlying knowledge infrastructure that feeds search engines, APIs, and AI assistants alike.
Section 5, the 6 domains of PKA, a blueprint for the AI era.
Actually establishing this capability starts right here. First up is knowledge discovery. Organizations have to aggressively inventory all their public knowledge assets. You need to find every single source that describes what you do. Step 2 is knowledge modeling. This is where you map out the semantic relationships between your services, your policies, and your capabilities, so a machine can actually understand how they all connect together. And step 3 is knowledge governance. You have to establish rigorous life cycles, incredibly clear ownership, and strict quality standards so that information never goes stale. Once you've got all that governed, we move to step 4, knowledge publication. This means exposing your structured knowledge through reusable services, rather than just trapping it on isolated web pages. Step 5 is knowledge consumption. You need to ensure that whether a user is on your mobile app, browsing your website, or chatting with an AI, they are consuming from the exact same single source of truth. It has to be completely channel independent. And finally, step 6, knowledge intelligence. This means continuously monitoring those external AI outputs to make sure they are actually reflecting your organization's true intent.
Section 6, designing for understanding, shifting digital leadership.
Implementing this entire blueprint requires a massive shift in digital leadership. Managing knowledge, that can no longer just be a side project for the communications team. It has to be treated as a strategic corporate asset and a direct responsibility of the executive team. Let's compare these two disciplines for a second. Traditional enterprise architecture asks, how does the organization work, right? It aligns internal business capabilities, apps, IT infrastructure. But public knowledge architecture completely complements that by asking, how should the organization be understood? PKA governs external meaning. You could literally have flawless internal operations, but if your external meaning is a fragmented mess, an AI intermediary is going to completely misrepresent you to the public. So just to quickly summarize the absolute core principles we've covered today, we need a single authoritative source for concepts. We have to model around meaning, not just host static documents. This knowledge must be strictly governed throughout its entire life cycle. It has to be machine interpretable by design, and it's got to be ready for channel-independent consumption. Listen, if you take anything away from this explainer, let it be this. Public trust in your services is very soon going to depend entirely on the quality of the structured knowledge you feed into the digital ecosystem. I want to leave you with this one provocative question. As we move fully into this age of the intelligent intermediary, we need to stop asking, how should our website be organized? And start asking our leadership, how should our organization be understood? It is a fundamental rethinking of digital strategy. And the organizations that figure this out first, they're going to be the ones that survive and thrive. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. I really hope this sparks some deep curiosity and maybe some urgent conversations within your own teams.